Stop! Sure you want the rest of it?
Dirty Harry Minute. Dirty Harry Minute. Dirty Harry Minute Podcast. Dirty Harry Minute Podcast.
Every penny's worth.
Welcome back to Dirty Harry Minute, the only podcast in the world to review every minute of that 1971 Warner Brothers classic Dirty Harry. I'm one of your hosts, John, and I'm joined with usual co-host Trent.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, yeah, not too bad.
Where's number 3?
Number 3 is still on parental duties.
So yeah, we'll see him probably in another 18 years
18
or
years,
so.
yeah. I don't know what film we'll be doing then.
Yeah, John Wick 10 or something.
Police Academy, Mission to Moscow.
Terrific. Well, fortunately enough, today we're guested with 3 wonderful guests. A man who remembers when the Melbourne Comedy Festival guide was just 4 pages long. One-time Eric Banner show writer performer, Bradford Oakes.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, Brad.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I love the way you said I remember that. And, you know, once you said it, I did. But now I'm quite old, so I don't remember a lot of stuff. What's this thing? Anyway.
Sitting next to Brad is... You've seen him in The Brothel, or maybe selling peak hole doors to door, star of Rove. But baby, that was years ago. Jazz guitarist, comedian Chris Wainhouse.
Hey, hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay, you've got some...
I remember seeing you in that brothel. I thought that was...
I don't know what you're talking about with the brothel
It was a
there.
Foxtel show, is that right?
Oh, was it a movie? Was it a... Oh, okay, was it a movie, yeah.
Were you a movie?
I think so.
You've never told me that.
Well, I never really remember. I remember going and doing something with...
Can I have your autograph?
You may.
Thank you.
You may. Thank you. Well, I feel very welcome.
Well, Chris, is it true you once sold peep holes door to door?
Peepholes.
Peepholes,
yes.
sorry, yes.
Yeah. I was just... I was buying something for my skateboard at a Mitre 10 and I saw a box of them. And I was like, what are these? And he was like, I don't know. They're just screwed together like little telescopes. And he goes, they're peepholes. And he told me how to... And I thought, oh, fuck, I could make money out of that, so I bought a box of them and a cordless drill and went door to door selling peepholes.
Nice little earner.
It was a great earner.
So if you turned up and there was a peephole already, you just go...
Yeah, or a glass door.
Took a hammer and a nail and broke all of them before you.
I once went around with a glass door selling little plugs of wood to put in the glass door.
to fix up the peepholes. The way to make money was I realised pretty quickly to go to the really old areas and just bash on the door. When they open the door, you go, open the door to just anybody, do you? And just as they shit themselves, you go, hey, $15, I can make that the year of home invasions. We can stop that now. Your first line of defence against a home invasion.
Why aren't you still doing that? There's so many doors without people.
I'm leaving now to do that now. I'm going to go do that now.
I had a car full of light bulbs also. Hey, got any light bulbs out? I had the lot going.
Whoa.
Yeah, me and my friend, we'd make, maybe $300, $400 a day.
Wow.
Jesus. That was big. That was big in the early 80s. For a couple of skaters.
We should just do that just for make a doco about
Got
it.
to learn how to do it again because the first one I did, I just blew the end of the door out. I didn't realise you've got to...
Yeah. I'll just get something from the car and then you fucked off, yeah?
And last but not least, one part of the excellent Film Slice podcast, the only Australian podcast to dare review Clint Eastwood's new work, The Mule.
Yeah, not because we wanted to, but because we had to.
Thanks for not calling him a skeleton. We have Jordan.
How you going, guys?
Thanks for coming along.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jordan.
I also don't remember anything that happened in the 80s, because I was born in 1994, which makes everything really difficult to remember.
God, I had a pair of shoes older than you.
That's when Tony Abbott was elected to Parliament. Mark Latham too. It's a pretty bad year.
Yeah, it's been a poor lifetime politically. Luckily, I don't care about it.
Typical millennial. Thanks for joining us, Jordan.
No, of course.
Today we're all reviewing minute 77. The minute begins.
77.
Oh yeah.
One of the finest minutes, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this minute.
Well, tell me, have I accurately summarised what's happened? The minute begins with one man looking at another seated man and ends with that man dragging the other man across the floor.
I think if you're gonna set up a picture, then you need to say it's a African American man,
Yes, African American man.
right, and looking at a white man, right, because that is that comes into play.
With the words they use, yes. What did you think of this minute, Chris?
I really loved it. I like a good bashing because there's a bit of violence in this minute.
Yeah.
And I really didn't like the guy. I don't like the character who is getting hit, so it was nice to see him get hit.
Ronald McDonald's never been hit before. Only in
He
this
is like
movie.
Ronald McDonald, isn't he? I bet that
Seriously?
comes up in every podcast.
It's actually a bit Joker-esque as well. It's very like Heath Ledger's Joker-esque.
What about what's this about Ronald McDonald?
He looks like
He
Ronald
looks a bit
McDonald.
like Ronald McDonald.
Oh, gee, that's a long bow, isn't it? Really?
I don't know. I picked it straight away. I knew which one he was talking about.
Yeah.
There's only two men you can.
But Ronald McDonald is an African American.
Well, he wears face paint. We don't know. There's no way of knowing.
It's true.
Cultural
He
appropriation.
looks like a Star Wars figurine that's been left out in the sun, doesn't it?
Wouldn't that be a good jigsaw though? Would be a great jigsaw.
Like a Picasso come to
1,000
life.
piece. I've got a bit of eye. Where is it? Oh, it's over here.
Trent, previous guest Evelyn says, they often use craft cheese or some sort of food stuff to make the layer under the latex. What do you reckon?
Is that right? Whenever I look at that shot, I always think of that film with Cher, Mask.
Oh, yeah.
With Eric Stoltz as the kid with the... I should be taking
I always
piss out
think
of it,
he's
but,
got Betty Davis eye.
I was working on this.
Singular.
Does everyone have a favourite, abandoned building scene in a movie? Mine, Trent, is in Midnight Cowboy where they live in that dilapidated
that's mine
tenement.
too.
Yeah.
I like the one in RoboCop. Remember in RoboCop when he
Yeah.
went in there and just...
They shoot every part of him.
Yeah.
I watched that movie last week and I forgot how grotesque it was. And there's a part where
yeah.
they stand over and they shoot his hand and it explodes. Like it doesn't come off. It explodes. Like
Yeah.
1,000 squibs just taped to his hand. Incredible.
I like Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, that's in an abandoned film.
Yeah.
Yeah, although it begs the question, I'm a little bit pedantic about language. If it's an abandoned building, then technically nobody should be in it.
Okay.
It's like when you're on a deserted island. Well, no, you're not.
Yes.
As soon as you're
I love,
on it,
I love that one film where there's just no one standing in a building for 8 minutes. It's my favourite scene from that movie, The Abandoned Building. Just no one in it. It's fantastic. It's 8 minutes long. It's a great movie.
Well, I'm absolutely in awe that you stuck it out.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I reckon I would have made 4 minutes. 4 minutes, and I just remember...
the book was better.
Stick my guns.
Spoiler alert. 9 minutes, somebody comes in.
There's an end credit scene, yeah, when Nick Fury just walks in and says, we're putting together a team of various empty buildings. Mind was blown.
It's got Trot Fest written all over it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Wow, well, what's the motive? Oh, there's a key ring.
Trent, have you seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger on the making of on this DVD?
Where it was like American Cop.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, and he goes,
What's
Clint
the second-
Eastwood set a new trend. You laugh at his movies like a comedy, then 2 seconds later be totally scared. Do you think Arnie
Scared.
would have been scared by this scene?
Arnie. Probably. Well, that's probably why. I mean, I don't know what the thing was in Austria at the time, but anyway, let's just
I think if Arnie was in the scene and he was the one punching, he'd be more afraid because he'd probably murder the other person with a punch.
Oh, yeah, it'd be nice.
Just a single punch and then exploding head.
So I love the scene. I love...
Beautiful. Is it too dark, or is it the perfect photography? You would get to see what you need to see?
I know. Look, I'd much rather... I thought the special effects is very 70s back there.
It
Anyway.
was better on your telly. I mean, no offence here, but it's a little bit dark.
yeah, right, yeah.
I have it. I do have the light up on mine because I hate movies where I can't see. And it's a kind of a theme these days to make them so dark and dingy.
Thank you, Dark Knight. Yeah.
Especially in video games as well. It's mostly because I game a lot.
You can't see anything. Yeah.
I was like, fuck, what do you mean I got shot? Who's shooting me?
Everybody said that about Game of Thrones, and I thought, people were going, oh, it's so dark, I couldn't see anything. And I thought, you couldn't hear anything. Maybe it was a novel.
Yeah.
Trent, have you noticed how the Brute here has got a weird belt? Almost like Scorpio's shoelaces. It's a white string belt.
Yeah.
He's getting $200. He's getting $200 for this deal. Why hasn't he got a proper belt?
Is this the... it's getting 200... Oh.
He's going to go buy a new belt.
Oh, yeah, he had a rope for a belt. It wasn't even a
Yeah.
belt. It was just a piece of rope tied together.
I know, and also, like, he's getting $200, but he lives in a...
I don't think he
He's
lives
like
there.
a troll under the bridge.
I think that's just where he goes to do his shenanigans.
Yeah, I reckon it is.
And do you remember I said to him, I said to you the other night, how did he, after he got beaten up,
Yeah.
how did he get out?
Yeah, that's right. Did someone find him or did he limp himself to the hospital?
It's also how did he find the guy? Like, just on Craigslist, we'll beat you up for $200. Like, where did he meet the guy?
Yeah, well, see, that's the kind of thing too where you say that in the pub, you go, I really want someone to beat me up.
That's it.
And people go, oh, you should go to my guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. Yeah.
Always in this shot here, I try to work out which is potentially stunt double and which one's Andy Robinson.
I like how also when he does his first punch, he kind of fakes with this one.
Yeah.
Like a real fight, but then goes in. Like the guy's paid him to bash him, so you could go, here it comes. You could just really wind that up. And
No, because, but you're probably going to pull away anyway,
yeah.
It's like when I was a kid and my old man tied with a string, a bit of cotton to my tooth,
Yeah.
and then tied it to the door to slam the door.
Yeah.
You don't stand there going, oh, this will be good. It just, and ironically, like the string broke and I fell over, but my sister was coming through the door, and it knocked all my fucking teeth out.
I used to, I got my little boy, when he lost his teeth, I did it with his remote control car. Just off it went. Pop, straight out.
Did he wake up? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Unconscious for weeks.
But the door was a good one. I remember loving the door. I mean, my dad would have loved doing the door. He would have done the door with Siamese twins. He would have tied a rope around one of them and slammed the door.
Tie the rope around one and drop the other off a flight of stairs. Just
So with your son in the tooth, was he laying face down on the floor? And
No, he was sitting on. He was sitting on there.
He was running away.
It was pretty powerful. It was back with those. You remember those ones that came with the battery and they'd only last say 15 minutes. So it was one of those big ones. We were outside. He was sitting down. It was fishing line, tied right up there, right on the back of the and man, fuck, those things went.
Running away. I assumed you meant he just drove it into me.
That's what I was thinking.
No. I drove it away.
I thought precision driving. How do you get the right tooth? I just do them all. Just get them all. Come on.
My favourite thing about that is if you were to give that advice to, say, Trent and be like, no, if you want to remove a tooth, use it. And he's sitting there like, all right, apparently we're going to drive this car straight into your face. That's what I was told to do.
I've heard this. I've heard it works.
I wasn't given any more
Lie down on the
instructions than that.
ground with your chin on the ground.
Now, open your mouth, son. Oh, I'm not going to like this.
Well, we should probably talk about the black son of a bitch.
Oh, I knew this would come up.
The
Okay.
N-word is only used once in this movie, ironically, and it's by DiGiorgio early, the whole, Harry hates them all, he's an equal opportunity bigot.
Yeah.
Whereas here, I mean, if Scorpio had used the proper N-word here,
Yep.
do you reckon there would have been more than just on the house? And the black guy would have...
Well, he does say the N-word too, doesn't he? At the beginning, it was a priest or a
Not
N-word.
yes, he does, yeah.
So he's not afraid of saying it.
Can we just back up to the bit where you just mentioned his nickname is Scorpio.
Scorpio, yeah.
Which is because it's got more impact. I imagine it was like Pisces. Pisces terrorising the neighbourhood.
Got Libra on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it gets worse. There's not many good ones, really, is there? Cancer's a Grady. I'd take Cancer.
I've got cancer on the phone. Oh, that sucks.
Oh, it's Gemini. Oh no, not Gemini. Both of them.
Aries would be a cool one, though, because it's like the god of war type deal. So Aries would have been a really cool one to go with.
Oh, Leo's right.
Leo's pretty cool. Yeah, I got a lion on the phone. It's not saying much.
Sagittarius is a bit snaggletooth. Suffering Sagittarius.
When he said snaggletooth, no, snagglepuss. I was thinking, don't you laugh? That Hanna-Barbera character.
That's what I meant to say.
You can go both ways with Scorpio. He could be a really problematic scorpion, or it could just be a little bug that's to stamp on, you know?
Yeah, he's a... Well, it's got sting to the name, hasn't it? That's the good thing. But it's a self-appointed nickname. I bet his friends call him Nancy Pants or something ridiculous.
In the novelisation, his real name is Charles Davis.
All right.
And they toyed with calling him Travis at one point.
But isn't that the thing too? That's when you embark upon this kind of life of crime.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. There's no one there to counsel you. You go, what am I going to call myself? I'll call myself the Easter Bunny Bandit.
The wet
Well,
bit.
it doesn't even matter, does it? It's like you go to the cops and go, look, I got a report on the disgusting Central Park flasher. He likes to be known as the gentleman. The gentleman flasher. No, the gentleman flasher.
The genitalman.
what you do is because they always send a letter to the newspaper, to the Chronicle, you know, or the Herald or something like that, and so you'd have like maybe a half a dozen names and saying, well, which ticket works for me? Just trying to say, I want to be called the Gentleman Flasher. I'd like to be called the Easter Bunny Flasher. Well, the Bonnet Man.
I think the first thing you do is if someone like that sent in, like, you know, one of these threatening messages to a newspaper and then nickname themselves, the first thing you do is discredit them by changing that nickname to being something completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, by Scorpio, and like building up on that thing that he clearly wants, just be like, by some idiot. And just leave it at that, and he'd be like, oh man, I spent 20 minutes with that name.
Yeah, is it smart to go, hey, this guy's just killed a few people in the city, I'm going to piss him off?
Yeah.
That's 90% of Dirty Harry's thing, though. Like,
One review online, Trent, is called Scorpio. He is a proto-incel gun nut who fantasizes about killing marginalised people. Is that an accurate description?
Well,
He's killed a young pretty woman in a pool, a black boy,
Catholic priest.
Catholic priest, yeah.
Did you notice too that in that too, it's the Catholic, they cut quite often back to that, obviously that Catholic church.
Yep.
Right.
A lot of Christian imagery in this movie, yeah.
Yeah, but they have Jesus saves, right? Which is not really commensurate with the Catholic faith. They don't have Jesus saves. It's far more
Penance.
Evangelical.
Penance.
Yeah, it's far more evangelical, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and so I found a lot of the
church altogether.
I reckon it's a beautifully shot movie, but there's a lot of lazy imagery in it. You know? There's a lot of that kind
But
of
it is
stuff.
also an indicator of the time. There was a lot of those Christian soup kitchens and all that sort of stuff around. There was a lot of those. That's where that Pentecostal and evangelical religion got its foot in the 70s. They really started with the Peter Graham and.
Everyone's got a direct line to God. It's not predetermined. You can have your own personal relationship with him.
Yeah.
So we're saying Harry Callahan, the Irish name, he's a Catholic man obsessed with guilt, and Scorpio, some raving Pentecostal Christian?
Maybe.
Longo, no.
the concept of him only killing minorities might be one of those things where, like, happy accident, well, unhappy accident, I guess, but it's like, maybe he just wanted to be known as a murderer, and they're like, yeah, he keeps killing minorities. Like, I didn't even think that I was only killing minorities. I'm gonna have to go and just kill some normal people now.
But every single person in the world is a minority.
Yeah, well, there's only one of them.
And that pretty girl in a pool is not marginalised, really. She's on a wealthy building. And
Also, it shows you how things date, because back then they said, we're going to kill a Catholic priest, and people are like, oh my God, not Father, Father McGuire. And now people are going, go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Kill three of them.
They all live.
Well, Chris, how do you prefer in fiction your serial killers? Do you like the calm mastermind, the
As
sort
opposed
of,
to reality.
or the drooling maniac? You know,
I like
In fiction,
I like
talking about
I
fiction.
like a very clever serial killer. I like the Dexter. I like the ones that go around killing bad people.
Yeah.
And
Like Harry.
and I like them very evil too. I like them very sinister and clever. Or what is it? Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal Lecter, brilliant serial killer, and admirable. So long as I admire them in some way, so they impress me.
what about just like the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath? Like Begbie he's funny, I suppose, in a way at a resolve.
It's transport.
Trainspotting, yeah, he's just a violent psychopath that can't
Yep.
control his emotions. You don't really care about his backstory, but I don't know, that can be fun too, can't it? Well, what sort of killer is Scorpio, Jordan?
I think he's a very dumb one. He's not smart at all. He's just got away with this. The whole city has dropped everything, and he's fucking straight back on the train, making a wanker of himself again. Like he's not going to get away with it this time, you know. Like it's he could have walked away. There was that time where we've got to let him go.
Or just go to a different town, like a different city.
Oakland, man, go to Oakland.
But what I didn't understand was where he's living, you know, basically in a cupboard under a sports stadium. Yet he has a rifle that's worth probably $10,000.
Yeah. It's a World War II artifact, like a collector's item, apparently.
Could have stolen it, who knows?
And he's blowing $200 on ass kickings.
You can get that anywhere.
Exactly. Priorities, buddy.
I seriously don't think people were running around in World War II with a little attaché case going, I have my rifle in here.
Well, people on Reddit see otherwise. It's apparently it's a paratrooper Japanese something or other.
Like if I was going to be doing that, I wouldn't be turning up with a rifle I had to assemble.
No, fuck no.
And you remember when he was scoping out that target? And then he goes, all right, now I'm going to do it. And then he puts the gun together.
Yeah.
And then loses the plot, panics when the guy's hidden behind a tree. It's like,
exactly. If the gun had been put together...
That's when you start looking for victims.
I actually think that one of the weaker points in this movie is the villain. Maybe unpopular opinion, but I really prefer my villains to have presence. Like, you know, you've got your Darth Vader or your Hans Gruber from like Die Hard, recently the Joker, like the Heath Ledger Joker.
They're formidable.
Those characters that you walk in the room and they steal the scene, and you immediately think that the hero isn't going to win. One of those characters where like maybe he's outsmarted. At no point in this movie do I.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah. I never really felt like Dirty Harry is at any point outsmarted.
Should you be called on to feel anything for the bad guy?
I think I
love his cartoon portrayal in this, Chris. Don't you? I mean, he's not a deep villain. He's just all fake. It's like a Warner Brothers cartoon villain.
You don't know what he's going to do. He's a nutbag, and he's clearly not intelligent or planned. So.
Yeah, he gets out of hand on the school bus later on.
Yeah.
He's going, row, you bite your cat, Mom. But you know that bit too where he's out there and he's just got his like telescopic sight.
Yeah.
And he's scoping out with it. And I was watching that thing and you've forgotten something, haven't you?
Yeah.
But bang. Have I? Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bangity, bang, bang.
Before he had a gun, that's all he did. Before he saved up for a gun, just fantasizing with the scope of a gun. Like one day.
If he was a true psycho, right after this guy kicked his ass, he'd pull out a gun and cap him.
Yeah.
Like that's what he would do.
That's a good point.
Or it's missing like a maniacal laugh at the end.
We don't know how this minute finishes.
And take his $200 back.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. There's a little,
Is there a possibility you're beaten up this bad, you might be like dry reaching or vomiting or whatever? Does that?
Look, if you get winded, I suppose. But with any beating, there's always a risk of death. You know.
But you're full of adrenaline.
Yeah, well, that can also put you in shock.
Well, not like this. You're not.
Well, it doesn't hurt till later on.
Yeah.
You're not full of adrenaline when you're just taking it. You're full of adrenaline in a fight. Yeah. But if you're just sitting there copping them, I think you'd be feeling it pretty. It'd be different for me to just sit here punching into you and you taking it. But if we were fighting, you wouldn't feel a thing, right? Let it be on.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in terms of how you cut it. Like, I've been in fights like this where I've not got to throw a punch.
Oh, right, yeah. But you've been trying to. You've been tucking up. You haven't been sitting there.
I was just thinking about it. I was thinking to myself, I should do something. Should I say the N-word? Don't want to piss him off.
Bringing that moment up in this minute, there's that bit where he like accuses him of that, and he's like, "I want every penny's worth," and then he punches him one more time, and then throws him out. And I thought this movie was going to go for like another 30 minutes of just him getting the shit kicked out of him from here on.
Yeah, it's like that guy stopped about 2 pennies towards the end and goes, "Are you sure you want the every penny's worth?" Yeah.
It's like, give me that
just
one more
Chinese
punch.
arm burn. Oh, well, that's awesome.
Maybe a buzzer went off and he went, your time's up. Sorry, mate. I can't go over union rules, mate.
It's like, please insert more quarters if you want me to keep going.
Yeah.
Trent, this has been called, quote, a virtuoso plot development without precedent in any movie. You think when you're watching this 1971, you're like, what the... He's deliberately getting paid to be beaten up?
Just quickly, that first shot when he's about to punch, he looks like Omar from the...
Wire.
The Wire.
Oh, yeah.
Just at the very beginning when he's there.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw this movie for the first time when I was like 7. Because it's like my dad watched all of these films, right? So the only
Like every good dad should.
Yeah, right. So this is that movie that like this is that movie that my dad had like in the basement just all the time. So we put this on after watching a bunch of westerns.
Yep.
And this was really confusing to me because not only could I like prior to that I'd seen like Spider-Man and X-Men and stuff like that. The hero just always wins and and the bad guy is evil for the sake of being evil. So seeing a guy pay someone else to beat them up was I couldn't grasp the concept when I was 7, and by the time the movie had finished, I honestly didn't know what was happening. Like, at that age, I couldn't grasp, because, I don't know what the law was when I was 7 or any of that, and there's, like, stuff that comes up later, but...
Your dad, when the police were coming around to raid what your dad was growing in the basement, you had a little bit of exposure to that. But,
and then Dad gave me $200 to punch him in the face and drive a remote-controlled car into his teeth. It was a very obscure time.
are there any other plot points like this in other movies you can think of, guys? Or a villain deliberately injures themselves to make
there's there's heaps, right? Where
It's sort of been done a lot since.
Yeah.
In Memento, remember when he's struggling to find a pen to write down and she pretends she roughs herself up to pretend that another guy had beaten her up. So
Gone Girl, where the main girl pretends to be raped so that she can then claim that she murdered Neil Patrick Harris's character in self-defense.
But there was a movie once where this couple adopted this girl, but the girl was actually like a 26-year-old lady, but she was just posing as a little girl, and then the girl breaks her arm and breaks her own arm.
I've seen that.
It's freaky.
It was.
It's freaky. She's like a Russian, but she's just a little girl. She tries to seduce the husband.
And a film I can think of that does it is The Removalists.
yes!
The Australian one with
David
John
Williamson.
Hargraves and
Yep.
Peter Cummings. They've accidentally killed someone they're interrogating, and they need to make it look like he's fought them. So that the film ends with the two of them bashing the shit out of each other.
Started out as a play.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
What is that with all these great plays set in Melbourne that somehow get regenerated to be in Sydney? Don's Party.
Paul Williamson.
Well, Fight Club's all about this, really, isn't it? The whole movie basically is about.
Well, Trent, that's pretty much all I have to say about this minute, except to note that in the script, in the novelisation, this is supposed to happen in Potrero Hill.
Right.
You remember that earlier? We learnt that's where Harry grew up,
Where he
apparently.
grew up. And the doctor.
Oh, good memory, yeah.
Potrero Boy Hills has got to stick together.
Yeah.
Brad, I don't know if you know, but Clint was like the 5th choice for this after Frank Sinatra, a whole lot of other people.
I did not know that. No.
Do you think he's the perfect role as the, quiet, angry whisperer for this movie, Clint?
Well, look, it's all going to be hindsight because he is the mould.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, if you look at say previous movies, like I'm not the greatest fan of Clint Eastwood because of films like The Gauntlet, which is ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous film I've ever seen. But then if you look at his spaghetti westerns, he's fantastic.
That's insane.
So good.
And Chris said this the other night when we were watching this. He goes, "Well, he's basically transported the character." I think he said it. And it's a western.
If you guys are agreeing, I said it.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, then yes.
That cements this film as being like a Western genre that's been put in a modern day. Like I say modern day. Back then it was modern day.
And quite literally, San Francisco used to be the end of the wagon train. He's taken, these frontier ethics of just shoot the bastard, that's my policy from the Old West, doesn't fit in this new urban environment where people have rights.
Yeah, he's
Which we believe in.
He's white. He's the lawman. So, and Clint has followed that theme.
It's somewhat condoned him to not have to put much effort into roles sometimes, where it's just like all I have to do is squint my eyes and whisper, and my history of films will do the rest.
Yeah.
Trent, I can see you bringing the Roger Moore analogy of just eyebrow up, eyebrow down.
Yes, absolutely. And that's it.
Speaking of shit acting, Roger Moore never bought him as James Bond. I just think
So much fun, though.
he couldn't fight. No.
Trent, looking closer to home, would you see Brian Brown in this role, or what Aussie?
Well, he did a film like this. It's terrible. It's called The Empty Beach, and it was a Peter Corris was the author.
Okay.
Cliff Hardy, I think, is the detective,
Yeah,
and
Cliff Hardy.
Brian Brown played it. And look, he was fine. The film is shit. And yeah, Mark Hunter from Dragon did the theme song. And
But beautiful place to shoot a movie.
yeah.
But I would see Jack Thompson,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
perhaps, in his role because, you know, he's a quintessential tough Aussie guy to me. You probably...
Did you count the money, constable?
Got him.
I tell you what rule we no, that was Breaking Rank. He was in Breaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rule 303.
Rule 303, but that was actually Edward Woodward, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that. Well, Gerard Kennedy? Yeah, I mean, he'd be the same as he is in, Division 4, basically, but...
I love that music.
Yeah, it's great.
There's that thing with remakes now, though. It's like if we were to remake this movie and cast it, and we're sticking with Australian, as much as there's so many actors that I'd love to see sort of come to that role, it'd probably just be Chris Hemsworth because he makes money as an action hero now.
Sadly.
Just put him in everything. He'll be the guy that's in everything for the next year, and then I'll pick someone else to be in everything for the next year after that.
They bung Russell Crowe in it, and we go, oh, he's an Aussie, right? Because he is a similar character in LA Confidential.
Yes, exactly.
Which is, I think it's his best film.
Perfect.
It's one of the greatest films I've seen, I think.
Or you'd go like Taron Egerton, and just like make it really young and do like, a prequel and it's just him and for some reason he's wearing a suave suit and glasses.
I'd give Grant Denyer a go. His Q rating is pretty high. I'll go see it.
Well, that's pretty much all I have for this minute. Brad, Chris, Jordan, Trent, can I invite you guys to be on another minute?
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking Grant Denyer is Dirty Harry now. I'm going down that path.
Dirty Grant Denyer.
Grant Denyer is slightly Dirty Harry.
Am I standing on 5 phone books or 6 phone books?
Well, we like to end our podcast with a...
Well, do you feel lucky? Well, let's go to the board.
90% of the audience said no. Don't know what to tell you.
Oh, now it's Stephen Jacobs from the Today Show Minute. He's another 10 phone books.
Get Koshy on there and just have Koshy do it.
We're getting a bit iconoclastic now, aren't we?
We like to end our podcast, Trent, on a Twilight Zone themed end narration for this minute. In Rod Serling style. This has been a love story about two lonely people who found each other in the Twilight Zone. We'll catch you next time on Dirty Harry Minute. Rehearsals are good.
Dirty Harry, really dirty Harry.
Seamless, guys, seamless.